All right, so for today, as you guys can probably tell from the title of this video, we have some new software for the car. I am super excited about this because basically since the stage 2 build was completed, pretty much like the first week of June, and then once I broke the car in, maybe like a week or so later, I've been running the off-the-shelf Cobb stage 2 tune, which I realize and know that it is not a true stage 2 tune. So basically all the modifications we did to the car with running the off-the-shelf Cobb stage 2 tune, we are basically, limiting the potential that the car has. So I went with EQT's stage 2 tune, 93 octane, stock high pressure and low pressure fuel pump, obviously. And I kept with the Cobb launch control, Cobb flat foot shifting, and the traction control. I think I said that, launch control, traction control, and the flat foot shifting. I kept all of those, so I'm able to use that and make those changes on the access port, which is super exciting. So in today's video, basically what I'm about to do is we're going to go hop in the GTI, and it currently still has the Cobb stage 2 tune on the access port. That's what I'm running. That's what I've been running, like I just said. That's currently still in the car. So we're going to do a couple of 0 to 60s, a couple quarter mile using the performance tab on the access port and kind of seeing what we come up with. We'll do some with launch control, some without. And then we will come back home and we will install the EQT stage 2 tune to the access port. I got the email today that it was emailed to me, which is super exciting. I ordered it on like Saturday, and yeah, I got the email today. Monday, July 28th is the current date and time. So yeah, let's get rolling. Super excited. Sorry if I'm all over the place. I just got off work and literally checked my email and saw that I had the email for EQT. We're gonna put on the head mount and we're gonna go do some pulls. All right, let's give this thing a cold start. I know I showed you guys in the last video, actually I gotta get the key out of the 4Runner. I showed you guys in the last video, obviously was a driving video. Car sounds way better with an actual exhaust. So no complaints on the exhaust so far at all, except for one thing, which isn't really a complaint. It could be a factor of a couple of things. Basically, yesterday was Sunday. On Saturday, Michaela and I went to the good old York County Fair, and I was driving through York City, and all I kept hearing was metal hitting the ground, and then turned off the radio and realized that it was my muffler smacking the pavement. So I don't know if it's from just how heavy and chattery that clutch is, that when I start, from a dead stop, all the bucking kind of wiggled, and it kind of rotated the muffler down. And then, yeah, that thing was literally almost dragging on flat ground. So that was an anxious drive home. And then yesterday, I ran over to the shop, and Ray and I adjusted it really quick, cranked down the clamp, and it seemed to be okay. So today, like I said, I'm gonna give you guys a cold start. If you saw in the last video, I did do a cold start, but I believe the engine was already warm. This thing's been sitting all day, so let's start her up. Well, as far as a cold start goes, that's pretty much all we get these days, and that is not a complaint. So I'm gonna bring the head mount with us. Let's lock up the 4Runner. While we let the GTI warm up, let me show you the Land Cruiser. So I currently have 3 vehicles here. My GTI, company vehicle basically. So these are registered to 74 Motors to the dealership. And yeah, that's why you're able to just swap tags and basically drive them and stuff. So we tried selling this one at Mannheim. It did not sell. I'm gonna go back to dailying it for a little while, give the 4Runner a break, keep miles off of that, because we're running that back to the auction probably by the first week of September. So here is the 98 Land Cruiser 1HD FTE 4.2 liter turbo diesel. This thing's awesome. I literally was daily driving this for about almost a year. Absolutely love this thing. It's a dog. It's like 175 horsepower, but I love 100 series Land Cruisers. To me, they are the best generation of Land Cruiser, and I've owned all the way up to a 24. So I've had one LX 470, which is a 100 series Land Cruiser, a 2024 Land Cruiser on 37s, and a 6-inch lift, and then this thing as well, and I absolutely love this thing. So I'm probably, if you guys are interested in seeing any videos, let me know. I definitely would not mind recording some videos on this car. It's super interesting. It's not something you see every day. All right, 0 to 60 test. Number 1, no launch control, traction control on. Let's see what we get. so our 0 to 60 there. Let's see, 0 to 60. 60 foot, 2.8 seconds. 0 to 60, 6.5. Was terrible. Okay, so that was with traction control on, not using launch control, just me pretty much slipping the clutch and giving it as much juice as we can, obviously, with what traction control will or will not allow. So I'm gonna try to do that again, but this time traction control is gonna be off. All right, let's try this. All right, well, I was gonna say we did better there, but we are at 6.2 seconds, so definitely not that impressive, in my opinion. But let's try it now with the launch control. All right, well, as for now, what we're gonna do after we install the EQT Stage 2 tune, we're gonna do 2 regular launches without launch control and 1 launch with launch control, because I'm not trying to beat the crap out of this thing, to be honest with you. I'm definitely not the best at launching it, that's for sure. It's not something I truthfully intend on using all that much, because I don't really plan on absolutely, you know, beating the crap out of this car. I just plan on ripping some back roads with it, so I don't know how usable launch control really is. So we're going to go back home, we're going to unplug the access port, and we are going to put that bad girl into the computer and install the EQT Stage 2 tune. I'll see you guys back at home. All right, let's shut this thing down. Let's make sure we grab the access port. Boom, just like that. Here should be where the magic happens. Searching for a file. See if it'll find it in here. Boom, EQT Stage 2. So yes, we want to load this onto the access port. Upload to the access port. Let's see what we got here. So in theory, the map should be installed onto the access port. And now we should just have to pretty much plug this back in. Like so. Boom, back on its mount. And now we should just turn the car to the run position. And then I should be able to install this map, and it shouldn't take too long. I heard on, at least from what I saw on YouTube, like between 1 to 3 minutes to install the tune. So we should just be able to go to tune here, change ECU map. Hopefully that's not too painful with the constant like flickering, but here it is. The EQT Stage 2 tune recommends a battery charger. We're just gonna, from what I heard online, you don't necessarily need to worry about it. But I might have to stay in the car the entire time that this is installing, which shouldn't be too terrible. All right, well, it's just doing some thing where it hit 100%, now it's just going back through. So we should be pretty much ready to start this thing up and let her rip. All right, change map successfully. Please turn ignition to off for at least 15 seconds before starting the vehicle. Perfect, I'm gonna go throw something in the trash quick. All right, well, we should be good here to go ahead and start the car up. Oh my God, it's so much different. Actually, here is one thing I can say. Check engine light's gone. Will it stay off? That is the golden question. But let's see, access port is loading up. All right, looks like we are officially in business. All of our gauges are back up, displayed. Let's go to Chick-fil-A, but of course, let's take the back way. Okay, I've literally been driving the car for like 2 minutes. What I can say is it does feel a lot even touchier and more responsive lower in the RPMs. The one thing I did notice was, all right, so I've explained this in a video before, but I'm gonna tell you guys the gauges that I'm running here on the access port. And huge shout out to Jewel City I watched his video on, you know, a lot of the monitors that he keeps track of on his access port. So we have our boost, we have our knock retard average, knock retard cylinder 1, knock retard cylinder 4, intake air temperatures, and right now I'm displaying my engine oil temperatures, even though I have them here, only because I actually had my digital speedo going on here when I was traveling long distance. So right now we have a negative 2.62 knock in cylinder 4, and then the knock retard average pretty much covers for cylinder 2 and 3, since I'm only displaying cylinder 1 and 4. So I know if I have a knock in there, it's happening in cylinder 2 or 3. Now this is most likely due to the carbon buildup. Tony and I tried cleaning the carbon out of this thing as best as we could. I do have some stuff from ECS, liquid moly stuff I ordered through ECS for like carbon cleanup, injector cleaner, and stuff like that. We're currently at half a tank, so probably by the next tank I am going to add those additives to the tank, see what kind of difference they make. But I am truly curious to see if we're gonna have a lot more knocking or not. I know the Cobb tune is generally more conservative, so I'm very curious to see about that. For now, I'm gonna, anytime a knock happens, up until I do a pull, I'm gonna keep resetting the monitors, just because I wanna see what happens under full throttle and let's just say 3rd gear. Yeah, it just feels a lot more responsive and ready lower in the RPMs. So I'm genuinely very curious. We have the AC ripping right now, so I'll probably turn that down, but I think I'm gonna get a nice little 3rd gear pull in up here and just kind of see the genuine differences. Also, I'm very curious if that check engine light, which is for the downpipe, which are running the CTS Turbo high flow catted 3.5-inch downpipe, but I'm curious to see if that check engine light's gonna come back on for the cat. So let's turn the AC down or even off, and let's give her some 3rd gear here. Oh yeah, wow, okay, so we just broke traction there in 3rd gear, like it was absolutely nothing. That was kind of crazy. Now, as far as knocks in cylinder 2 or 3, we have a negative 0.75 knock, and back in cylinder 4, we're at negative 1.88. I genuinely don't know how concerning these numbers are. I heard if it's anything higher than like a -3 consistently, that's a concern. I've never seen that. I have seen -3, but not consistently. And that was 3rd gear, granny shifting it. We broke traction like at 4,000 RPMs or so. So definitely a lot more aggressive of a tune, because I would never get traction control light in 3rd gear doing a pull with the Cobb Stage 2 tune. That is for sure. Traction control really kicks on in 3rd gear. You know, if you've seen any of the other POV driving videos, we definitely don't have the traction control light kicking on in 3rd gear. So that's super exciting. Let's see what happens if we turn traction control completely off and give her some sauce here. Not in 1st gear, maybe 2nd gear. Guys, I am genuinely impressed, honestly, with this car, or really, well, with the car and with the tune for sure. It's been holding the 212 degrees oil temperature. I cleared those knocks, and honestly, something else I just noticed, which you guys might have a hard time seeing, yeah, you're probably gonna have a hard time seeing, but up here at the top left, my boost gauge, it's showing my max boost as 28.7 PSI, so I'm gonna go into the Chick-fil-A store, so I'm gonna shut the car down, and then at least the access port will reset the stats, and I'll try to give it another full throttle, because I'd be very surprised if this thing's running at 28 PSI. And that gauge specifically is for the relative manifold pressure, which Jewel City, at least, he recommended running that to show more accurate boost pressure. So I'm very curious what this thing's running boost-wise. I do have a friend out here in New York who owns Castle Performance, formerly CBRD. And he has a dyno over there. So I'm gonna see about getting this thing put on a dyno. Drop some comments below. Would you guys want to see a dyno video on this car? I'm personally very curious. There are still some small things that need to tweak on the car to make it perfect. This tune really, really blew my expectations for one, and two, completely changed the car. So one of the main things we have to fix is the steering wheel. Right now the steering wheel looks straight, but when I drive, it's more positioned like this, which is kind of annoying, just for long distance stuff. And plus I like to be able to grip at the bottom here when I'm just chilling on the highway. So that's kind of slightly annoying. And then the rear diffuser smacks the rear bumper non-stop. That's super annoying just because of the noise. With the car being a lot more quiet now, that's kind of all I hear, especially if I have the windows down. But wow, what a completely different car that this tune. Wow, I'm just genuinely blown away, genuinely impressed, super stoked, very happy, very pleased. Customer satisfaction through the roof. I've heard good things about EQT, but wow, even starting off in first gear, I know it sounds crazy, it's like smoother. I don't know what the exact changes are in settings with this tune, but wow, absolutely insane. Let's drop her down if we can. Hopefully this guy will pass. I don't want to drive too much like a crackhead, you know what I mean? Try to be respectful where you can. All right, fourth gear the whole way to the floor. Reading 28.5. Now, we did get some knocks there. The knock retard average between cylinder 2 and 3 is negative 1.5, cylinder 1 negative 1.88, cylinder 4 negative 1.88. So honestly, I just have to keep an eye on all this stuff and read on forums and Facebook groups, and yeah, that's kind of it. But the car definitely runs way different, way more responsive. Like even in fifth gear, just like that, just has way more pickup. Yeah, so she's definitely a totally different car, totally worth doing all the modifications. I am very beyond pleased with the EQT Stage 2 tune. Shout out to EQT. Honestly, what a world of a difference. It's genuinely insane. Now, here's one thing I did notice. Yep, we got the little yellow light on, so I'm actually going to turn the ignition on, and we're going to run a little diagnostic here, see if we can find out what. I'm assuming I know exactly what it's for, but we're hoping that it's not for something that we didn't expect. Sure enough, it's for the cat. Okay, so not the end of the world. That's an easy thing to ignore. I don't even clear the light just because to me it's not exactly worth it. But thank you guys for watching this video. My apologies that we didn't get to do the 0 to 60 test comparing it to the Cobb, but we can save that for another video. I just don't want to risk it with my exhaust because even pulling into the stones here, I heard it hit. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like on this video, drop a comment below if you guys are EQT tuned, and also if you want to see any videos on this Land Cruiser. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new, and I'll see you next time.